All right.
1,400 square feet.
Can you guys hear me now?
We can.
Yeah, but we're getting a little bit of audio feedback.
Hang on. I'm going to decline that.
So you might have a couple devices.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay, finally. Geez, okay. All right, good.
No image.
So we've been live for a while, and I hope your comment is not too far out of context. Okay. Let me do this. Okay, we're live. Welcome everybody. I hope someone is streaming. I'll edit out some of that conversation that we had prior to. I just want to say a few words here. First of all, I have a couple of wingmen here with me. On your left is Jim Daling, a well-known educator. And on the right is Joel McFadden, another well-known educator and entrepreneur. Both of these guys have been goldsmiths. I suspect that the cumulative time in grade here in the room is probably somewhere around a century and a half. Hey, I just got 50 years all of a sudden on the bench and designing and manufacturing fine gold jewelry. Or fine, precious metal jewelry. I started out with silver, but then segued to gold. So you guys want to hang for us, or you want to say something just as an introduction before we get started?
Joel, you want to go?
Hi, I'm Joel McFadden. I was the first NJSA mentor jeweler. I was the director of the Council of Custom Jewelers. I started as a bench jeweler in 1972.
Well, I guess that's my part. So, hey, Gary, we're still, or I don't know if you two are getting it, but I'm still getting a little video feedback or audio feedback.
On my end, I'm not getting any weird interference or audio feedback. How about you, Joel?
Really?
I am.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going out on the recording. Let me do something really quickly. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, that's not a good idea.
A cold Wisconsin winter day. His name was Tim Davis. And he went on to become a professional jeweler, but unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But I walked in to see what Tim was doing, and he cut an opal. And I watched him cut that opal, and it was mesmerizing. So I changed my major. That was in 77. And have not looked back since. My first professional gig was designing for Maui divers in Honolulu back in 84. And I was working on a long distance relationship in Wisconsin. So that lasted about 6 months. And then I came back to the mainland and helped a friend open a jewelry store in Wisconsin and was his goldsmith designer for about 5 years. And then I decided that I wanted to learn more about what I was doing. And so I chose to go on to graduate school and went to Tyler School of Art. And that, as they say, is history.
I did not know you worked at Maui Divers. That is very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the only wax carver at the time. And up until that time, most of the work that I did was carving waxes. But I would tend to say that I looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy at the end of the day because I'd just be covered with wax because I'd carve wax for 8 hours a day.
Hey,
I think that's, yes.
Oh, Jessica Cass is participating right now, and I just want to say thanks to her for saying she does not hear the feedback. So apparently it's not going out over YouTube. And hi, Jess. Glad to have you here. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Gary, your credentials amaze me, but I'm wondering what Can you tell me about the credentials that give you the ability to do something like this?
Gosh, thanks for asking. Uh, I don't want to make this all about me, but yeah, I've been, well, first of all, a bench jeweler for and designing and manufacturing precious metal jewelry for a little over 50 years. So that's my bench experience. In terms of this podcast, I want to follow three tracks actually. There's going to be bench, there's going to be tech presentations, and then there's going to be business presentations. So in terms of business, my I started out, I remember selling my first ring on the sidewalk in front of Old Taylor's Tavern in Eugene, Oregon, when I was still taking classes from Max Nixon at the University of Oregon. So that was my humble beginnings. And then I kind of have a weird introduction. I was a little too shy to like put myself out there very much. So I built a little case of jewelry that I would walk around to local businesses and just walk in and see whoever was sitting behind the first desk if they wanted to see some handmade jewelry. And sometimes I'd immediately get kicked out, and other times they would say, "Well, sure, come on in," because somebody's sitting there just to answer the phone. They don't have anything to do. I segued to displaying at the tavern across from my apartment, and then built that into a downtown retail jewelry store with 8 employees at one point in time. And then I was able to successfully sell that store eventually. So I guess that's my business experience. I built it literally from the sidewalk up. And then I was, after I sold the business, I just went online and let's see, the, who was it? One jewelry industry magazine called my website the best of the best. I'm trying to remember who that was, but I can't at the moment. And then anyway, in terms of tech, I've always embraced new technologies. I've really been a tool junkie my entire career. And then embraced CAD 10, 15 years ago, maybe. And I'm extremely proud to be the recipient from the Santa Fe Symposium of a jewelry technology leader award. So I cover all those bases. I'm going to be the first to say I'm not the best at anything I do. I dabble. Honestly, I dabble, but I dabble pretty seriously, and I feel like I'm pretty good at almost all those things. So I'll cover a lot of the bases in this podcast. But I also hope to have some very high value guests like you guys. Jim, you and I have already talked about maybe you're doing a presentation about fusing torch work. I think I may take the first shift next Tuesday and do a short presentation about reticulation. So, and then Jim, maybe you can continue the torch work thing the week after that, or following up on that pretty soon. And then we'll kind of take it from there. I'd like to have my guests set up at least a week in advance so I can announce them during the thing. My concept here, though, it's awkward. Some people feel it's awkward to do a live podcast like this, live demonstrations. But I think that for me, it's a good idea because I really want to build this into a lot of audience participation where people can stop what's going on and ask immediately, either in the chat area of the YouTube connection or however we decide to do that. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to remember to mention. I think a lot of this apparently is going to originate from YouTube. Some of it may still go back and originate with Substack. Where I originally intended to provide, where I had intended to originate the content because I really like that platform. But YouTube seems to just make this so much easier. So that's why we're here now. But in other times, I think I'm going to use GoTo, which formerly GoToMeeting, where I have, I don't know if it's an enterprise, but I have a business account there, which allows me to enable up to 150 participants at any given time. And if I'm doing like Rhino demonstrations, for example, or if I have Joel on maybe doing matrix presentation, we can do that via the go-to format, which can also record, and then I can cross post, to every place I want this to go. So anyway, yeah, thanks for asking. I feel confident that I'm going to be able to bring decent content here. And I guess one more thing I'll mention is that I know people, having participated in the Santa Fe Symposium and for a number of years, and just being in the industry for so darn long, it enables me to comfortably reach out to people that can provide high value content for the podcast going forward. So again, thanks for asking that. Oh, there's oops, now I can't hear you. I'm not hearing you, Jim.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Joel.
Okay.
Jim's
I
coming.
still have an echo, but I can manage that.
Yeah. Jess says hi, kids, back.
I think what's important with the podcast area is that we talk about helping bench jewelers move forward with making a living and making a career out of it.
Exactly right. I mentioned this in the Substack post. And if for those of you who may have missed this, who are seeing this video later on, or whoever's watching right now, I really elaborated the nature of the project in a Substack post. My Substack is called Too Vain to Fail, which kind of describes me. I guess you could call me too dumb to quit, I think, a lot of times, but the idea of just keep plugging away until you reach some level of success. And I think that applies, to bench jewelers that want to build a business. And that, thanks for mentioning that, because that's the reason we have 3 tracks in this educational program, is the idea that you have to wear a lot of hats if you're going to make a success out of a jewelry career these days. I mean, maybe you can just get hired by a big company and be happy there. But I think a lot of bench jewelers, it seems like, based on the feedback I see at events I've presented at and whatnot, people are very interested in becoming a business of their own, having
Right.
a little more control over their lives and whatnot. So anyway, that's it. I don't have a great deal more to say today. This was a test of the system. As you could see, and at least in the beginning, there were some false starts, and I didn't have my audio on inadvertently, although I thought I had everything prepared. And that's it. Next week, I'm going to same time, same bat station. I'm going
Bat channel.
Same bat channel. Next week, it'll be a little bit of a learning experience for me too, because now I've got to go through the learning curve of setting up multiple cameras, because I want to have a close-up camera when I'm pouring ingots and rolling, doing the alloy for reticulation. You don't just do it with sterling silver. You got to lower the silver content just a little bit by adding copper to it, and then rolling it, and then quenching it a bunch of times. I may try and set this up like a cooking show, but I'd like to have not just my camera. I've named my camera Wally, by the way. It looks a lot like, from the movie at the same name. It follows me around when I move. And I'm going to next week, that my learning curve will be to set up multiple cameras so I can do close-ups of ingot pours and the reticulation process itself. But I may set it up a little bit like a cooking show so it doesn't go on forever. You've got to quench for reticulation. You've got to quench the ingot. I don't remember how many times is recommended, but a bunch of times. So I don't know if people want to sit through that process while I ramble on and tell bad jokes.
So you're going to have the magic oven?
I'm going to have the magic oven.
Yeah. Where, oh, look, you're going to put it in the oven. Oh, look, it's finished.
Oh, yeah, the magic oven. Right, from a cooking show perspective. Right. Yeah, something like that. No, I'll have one ingot under in the catch tray, and say, okay, now I've quenched this a bunch of times. Here we go. But see, that's the thing with a live podcast. We got to think about this isn't going to be edited, and there'll be bloopers. There'll be dumb. I'll probably drop shit, and I may drop a bad word once in a while too, because my language segues to truck driver pretty quickly sometimes, especially when things aren't going great. And so anyway, that's it. Let's close this down. I think it's been pretty successful so far, but any final words, you guys? Jim, is your mic back up? Try and say something.
So my mic is,
Yeah.
but I'm still getting that really bad audio feedback.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you guys are having to deal with it. I think maybe next time I do something like this, I'll work with headphones instead of the speakers on my desk, and that will eliminate it. Jessa has assured me that it's not coming over the live stream. So
Okay, great.
we'll deal with that little technicality a little bit later on.
Well, Gary, I'm really excited about this. And Joel, it was just great to see you both. So happy New Year, all of you.
Yeah, I think this has so much potential. I guess I've got a few more words I could say about it. Part of the inspiration for this is that I feel like there's a huge gap in the industry, education gap. There's a bit of a craft renaissance going on right now. People are wanting to learn how to make hats. They're wanting to learn how to make jewelry. They're wanting to learn how to sew. It's they should have never stopped home ec as a high school class. There's so many things that people want to know in terms of sustainable lifestyle these days. And events are great. There are some events that are trying to bridge that gap, but even the good ones, only happen once a year, and they're localized. And then it costs a lot of money to, unless you live in the city that it's going on, it costs a lot of money to go. So my vision for this podcast is that it will fill that gap for people. And one more thing now that keeps coming up, I mentioned in my Substack post, I'd like to keep this free for the audience. I'd like to do that. I plan on spending a fair amount of time in this, so frankly, I'm going to need some compensation at some point in time, and it would be nice, actually, if I could pay my guests something, a small stipend or something, to have them appear. All that takes money, and so I'm going to be seeking sponsors. If anybody out there is a potential sponsor, tool supplier, or
Well, I'm infinitely rich, but one thought is possibly including demonstrating new tools that come out of the market through Rio or Stellar or Auto Fried.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
get some of those companies as far as backers.
that's another part of
I can work on that too. I've got 2 sponsors of my own that I can bring to this a little bit.
yeah, good. That's another thing about us knowing people, is that I'm gonna
Yeah.
personally, right after the first of the year, I'm gonna start personally reaching out to some of the people I know that might be interested in sponsoring this, with a mention. And once we get sponsors, it won't just be the Benchworks logo up there. Maybe the Guess Wine or the Hoover and Strong or the I'm not going to call out anybody. I guess I already did, and I apologize for that. But you could get a logo on the screen. You could get mentions in the podcast, and this way we can keep it going. It would be something I think that has the potential of being very beneficial for the industry. So sorry for the false ending, and then me winding up saying a whole bunch more. But
Oh wait,
yeah,
I do want to add something.
okay, good.
Are we still talking about having a social gathering at Tucson?
Yes, thanks for mentioning that. That's another thing that I was going to mention here. Being my first time as a live stream, I'm probably about as nervous as when I got up on the stage at Santa Fe Symposium for the first time. But yes, Joel and I have talked extensively about having a bench jeweler gathering. If you guys don't object too seriously to it, maybe we could call it the Benchworks dinner or the Benchworks get together. at any rate, here's an open invitation. The date and time to be announced. I'm leaning towards I think the HETA show ends on a Friday, and I'm thinking about Friday evening would be a good time to have that because people may still be in town. Anybody who's inclined to come to an event like that um, could be a lot of fun for us to get together, meet face to face, and talk shop.
I have not been able to get down to Tucson since COVID. And that's always been one of my favorite events through the year, partially because my brother usually goes down. It's almost like a family reunion, but I would love to go down and see you guys.
Well, plan on coming this year. It's only about a month away now. I don't remember the exact dates. It ends on the 6th, which is that Friday, I think. Or excuse me, I think it ends on the 5th, which is Friday. I had also thrown out the possibility of having like a little bench in down at my workshop in Bisbee, which would accommodate, 15, 20 people probably. But I'm not sure that's up this year. I think we need to get some traction in this podcast. And I think if we can just have a little dinner in Tucson together, that would be great. So thanks for mentioning that, Joel.
You're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think we've covered all the bases. I feel like this has been fairly successful. Thank you both for participating. Thanks, Jess, for popping by. I hope other people had the chance to catch this live, but this will get posted on my Substack. It'll be on YouTube as a live video that we've done. And where else can we post this? We'll put links up, all over the place probably for people to be able to find this. So thanks again, guys. I'm going to stop streaming now unless you got some final words. Okay,
Nope.
good.
Happy New Year, everybody.
All right. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you've had a great 2025. 2026 is only going to be better.